I want you to think about your arthritis pain in a new way for a moment. Imagine that your joints are like a house, and deep inside the walls of that house, a small fire is constantly smoldering. It's not a raging inferno. It's that low-grade chronic inflammation that creates the persistent, dull ache you feel day after day. Now here's the difficult part. Many of the foods you eat every day, even some you believe are healthy, are like unknowingly throwing kindling and gasoline onto those smoldering embers, making the fire burn just a little hotter, a little longer. But here's the reason for hope. There are other foods, simple, powerful plant-based foods, that do the exact opposite. They act like a targeted fire extinguisher, going right to the source of the heat to cool the inflammation from the inside out. So today we're going to stop just managing the smoke. I'm going to show you 3 of the most powerful fire extinguisher foods you can use to start putting out the fire.
Doctor, that image you just shared with our audience of a smoldering fire in the joints is so powerful. It's an incredible way to understand what that chronic, nagging pain of arthritis really feels like on the inside. Welcome everyone to Health Voices. I'm your host Sarah, and I'm here with Dr. Morgan. Today we are taking on one of the most common and frustrating conditions of aging arthritis. And as Dr. Morgan just so vividly explained, we're not just going to talk about managing the symptoms. We are going on a mission to find the fire extinguishers, the simple, natural plant-based foods that can help cool that inflammation and bring real relief. Doctor, before we get to the specific foods, can you first explain why shifting towards plant-based proteins is so often a critical first step for people with arthritis?
It's a foundational question, Sarah. For many people, certain animal proteins, particularly red meat, can act as that kindling for the inflammatory fire we talked about. This is because red meat is high in a specific type of omega-6 fatty acid called arachidonic acid. Now, our bodies need some of this, but in excess, it can be converted into highly inflammatory compounds called prostaglandins and leukotrienes. These are the very same compounds that medications like ibuprofen are designed to block. So by eating a lot of red meat, you can unknowingly be fueling the very inflammatory pathways that your medications are trying to suppress.
So you could be fighting a fire with one hand and adding fuel with the other.
Precisely. The beauty of the plant-based proteins we're about to discuss is that they don't just avoid adding fuel. They bring their own water to the fire. They are packed with compounds that actively push your body's chemistry in the opposite direction, away from inflammation, and toward a state of calm and resolution.
So where do we start? What is the first fire extinguisher food you recommend?
The first is one of the most humble, affordable, and incredibly effective foods in the entire plant kingdom. I call it the gentle giant of arthritis relief lentils. These small legumes are absolute powerhouses. And I want to frame this with a story of a patient of mine. Let's call her Beatrice. Beatrice was a retired piano teacher in her late 60s. Her passion was playing the piano, but the arthritis in her hands had become so severe, the joints so swollen and stiff, that she could no longer play. The pain had stolen her greatest joy. The first simplest change we made to her diet was incorporating lentils.
What is it about lentils specifically that makes them so effective?
It's a 4-part synergistic effect. First, as the article mentions, they are an incredible source of magnesium. Magnesium is nature's muscle relaxant. It helps to ease the tension in the muscles and tendons surrounding our joints, which can significantly reduce pain perception. But on a deeper level, magnesium is critical for regulating the body's inflammatory response. Think of it as a calming agent for your entire system. Second, they are rich in potassium. Potassium works in a delicate dance with sodium to manage fluid balance in the body. When that balance is off, you can retain water leading to puffiness and increased pressure in the joints. By providing ample potassium, lentils help your body flush out excess sodium and reduce that painful swelling.
And the source text also highlighted their fiber content.
Yes, and this is a connection many people miss. Lentils are packed with soluble fiber. This fiber is crucial for stabilizing blood sugar levels. Now you might ask, what does blood sugar have to do with my aching knees? The answer is everything. High blood sugar and the insulin spikes that follow are intensely inflammatory. A blood sugar spike is like a surge of electricity that short-circuits your system and dials up that smoldering fire. The fiber in lentils prevents these spikes, keeping your energy and your inflammation levels stable. And fourth, lentils are a fantastic source of folate, or vitamin B9. Folate helps your body regulate an amino acid called homocysteine. High levels of homocysteine are a known marker for inflammation and have been linked to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and joint damage. So by eating lentils, you are quite literally providing your body with the tools to diffuse multiple sources of inflammation at once.
So for Beatrice, the piano teacher, this one food was addressing her pain from 4 different angles. That's incredible.
It is. It's the wisdom of whole foods. This brings us to the second healing ally, which is often found right next to the lentils in the grocery aisle, and which takes this healing process a step further. I call it the antioxidant shield chickpeas.
Many people know them from hummus, but I get the sense their benefits go much deeper.
Much deeper. Like lentils, chickpeas are a wonderful source of protein, fiber, and magnesium. But they bring 2 unique and powerful tools to the fight. The first is a class of compounds called polyphenols. Think of polyphenols as your body's personal security detail. As part of daily life, and as a result of inflammation, your body produces unstable molecules called free radicals. These free radicals are like tiny ricocheting bullets that damage healthy cells, including the cells that make up your joint cartilage. Polyphenols are antioxidants that patrol your system, find these free radicals, and neutralize them before they can do any harm.
So they are actively protecting the joints from damage on a cellular level.
They are. And the second unique tool chickpeas provide is vitamin C. We often think of vitamin C for immunity, but it is absolutely essential for producing collagen. Collagen is the strong, flexible, rope-like protein that forms the very structure of your cartilage, the smooth, rubbery cushion in your joints that allows your bones to move without pain. When you have arthritis, that cushion is being worn down. Eating vitamin C-rich foods like chickpeas is like providing your body with the raw material it needs to repair its own shock absorbers. For Beatrice, as she started to feel some initial relief from the lentils, we added roasted chickpeas as a daily snack. The goal was to not only continue reducing the inflammation, but to start actively providing the building blocks to protect her existing cartilage from further damage.
So lentils help put out the immediate fire, and chickpeas help to rebuild and protect the structure itself. It's a true 2-pronged approach.
That is the perfect way to describe it. You are simultaneously calming the system and fortifying its defenses. And the beauty is, these are not expensive or exotic supplements. They are simple, affordable, and delicious foods that have been nourishing humanity for centuries.
CTA1 Doctor, this is such a hopeful and empowering perspective. You're giving us a roadmap. And for everyone watching, if you or someone you love is dealing with the daily struggle of joint pain, and this idea of using food as a tool for healing is resonating with you, please let us know. Take a moment and type the number 1 in the comments below. It's a simple way to acknowledge that you're on this journey with us. And please don't forget to subscribe. It is completely free and it ensures you won't miss the rest of this vital conversation. Doctor, this is fantastic. We have the gentle giant in lentils and the antioxidant shield in chickpeas. Both are clearly incredible tools. But I've often heard the term complete protein, meaning a protein that contains all 9 of the essential amino acids our bodies can't make themselves. For someone with arthritis who is trying to repair damaged tissue, how important is it to get these complete proteins? And is there a plant-based option that fits this description perfectly?
That is the perfect question to ask next, Sarah, because it moves us from foundational support to active, high-level repair. And yes, it is incredibly important. Think of repairing your cartilage and surrounding tissues like building a wall with Lego blocks of 9 different essential colors. If you are consistently missing 1 or 2 of those colors, you simply cannot build a strong, stable structure. You can patch things up, but you can't truly rebuild. A complete protein is a food that delivers all 9 of those essential colors in one package. And the undisputed champion in the plant-based world for this is our third and final fire extinguisher, tofu.
Tofu, which comes from soybeans. It's a staple for so many, but it's also a food that has some controversy around it. What's your take on it for seniors with arthritis?
From the perspective of managing arthritis, the science and my clinical observation are very clear. Tofu is a remarkable ally. First and foremost, it solves the complete protein puzzle, ensuring your body has every single building block it needs for tissue integrity. For someone like Beatrice, the piano teacher whose joints have suffered wear and tear, this is non-negotiable. Her body needs the full spectrum of tools to even begin the repair process. But the benefits of tofu go far beyond just its protein content. It delivers what I call a trifecta of healing properties.
A trifecta of healing. What are the other 2 components?
The second component is its healthy fat profile. Tofu is a great source of polyunsaturated fats, including omega-3 fatty acids. While the omega-3s in plants called ALA are different from those in fish, they are still powerful anti-inflammatory agents. They contribute directly to cooling that smoldering fire we've been talking about, easing joint pain and stiffness from a different angle than the minerals in lentils and chickpeas. And the third component is its unique combination of bone support and specialized plant compounds. Many varieties of tofu are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, making them a fantastic dairy-free option for maintaining bone density, which is critical as weak bones put more stress on arthritic joints. But the real secret weapon in tofu is a class of compounds called isoflavones.
Isoflavones. That's a term many might not be familiar with. What do they do?
Isoflavones are unique plant estrogens. This means they have a molecular structure that is similar enough to our own estrogen that they can bind to some of the same receptors in the body. For our purposes in arthritis, studies have shown that these isoflavones have a mild but significant anti-inflammatory effect, particularly in joint tissue. They seem to help modulate the body's inflammatory response. So for Beatrice, adding a simple tofu stir-fry to her weekly meals was the final piece of the puzzle. We were providing the complete protein for repair the omega-3s to cool the fire and the isoflavones to regulate the inflammatory response, all in one simple, easy-to-digest food.
So it's not just about eating one of these 3 foods, lentils, chickpeas, or tofu in isolation, is it? It sounds like the real benefit comes from incorporating all of them.
Exactly. That is the most important takeaway. The real magic happens with synergy. The goal isn't to find a single magic bullet food. The goal is to shift the entire pattern of your diet. Think of your dinner plate. If you can start to reduce the portion of inflammatory kindling, the red meat, the processed foods, the sugar, and increase the portion of these fire extinguisher foods. You are fundamentally changing your body's internal chemical environment day after day. You are creating a consistent, anti-inflammatory state, rather than just trying to put out fires after they've already started to rage. A lentil soup for lunch one day, a handful of roasted chickpeas for a snack the next, a delicious tofu and vegetable stir-fry for dinner later in the week. Each meal becomes another step toward cooling the system down. That is how real lasting relief is achieved.
Can you give us an example of what a perfect anti-inflammatory plate might look like?
A beautiful, simple example would be a plate with a piece of baked or grilled tofu, a side of roasted sweet potato bringing in that wonderful healing ally we discussed previously, and a large serving of steamed green vegetables like broccoli or kale. That is a meal that fights inflammation from every single angle. You have the complete protein and isoflavones from the tofu, the slow-release energy, and anti-inflammatory beta-carotene from the sweet potato, and the powerful sulforaphane compounds from the broccoli. It's a symphony of healing.
CTA 2. A symphony of healing. I love that. You've given us not just the individual instruments, but shown us how to put them together to create beautiful music for the body. And for everyone watching, if you are still with us and feeling inspired to make these kinds of positive changes to your plate, let us know by typing the number 2 in the comments. We love to see that you are on this journey with us, learning and ready to take action. Doctor, this information is incredibly hopeful. We have the what lentils, chickpeas, and tofu, and the why, how they work together to cool inflammation and provide the building blocks for repair. But for someone like Beatrice, who is in active pain and likely feeling fatigued and overwhelmed, the how can often feel like the biggest mountain to climb. How do you advise your patients to start incorporating these new foods into their lives without it feeling like a difficult chore?
That is the most important bridge to cross, Sarah, the bridge from knowledge to action. And you are right. When you are in pain, the last thing you have energy for is a complex new cooking regimen. The biggest mistake people make is trying to change everything at once. They throw out everything in their pantry and try to become a different person overnight. That approach almost always leads to burnout and failure. My advice is always the same. Start small and start simple.
So it's not about a radical diet overhaul.
Absolutely not. For the first week, I don't even ask my patients to take anything out of their diet. I just ask them to focus on adding one of these healing foods in a simple way. The goal is to build a new habit, not to create more stress.
Can you give us some of those simple starting points for each of the foods we've discussed?
Of course. Let's start with lentils. The easiest entry point is a simple soup. You don't need a fancy recipe. Just cook some red lentils with vegetable broth, some chopped carrots, and a little onion and garlic until they are soft. You can make a big pot on a Sunday afternoon when you have some energy, and then you have easy, incredibly nourishing lunches for the next 3 days. It requires very little active effort for a huge nutritional payoff. For chickpeas, I tell people to embrace convenience. A can of chickpeas is a miracle of modern nutrition. The key is to rinse them very well under running water to remove the excess sodium and preservatives from the canning liquid. From there, the options are endless and require no cooking. You can toss a handful into a salad you're already making. You can mash them with a fork, add a squeeze of lemon juice, a little garlic powder, and some herbs, and you have a delicious protein-rich spread for whole grain crackers. Or my personal favorite for a satisfying snack, pat them dry, toss them with a little olive oil and paprika, and roast them in the oven until they are crispy.
And what about tofu? I think that's the one that intimidates people the most if they haven't cooked with it before.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. The key to good tofu is choosing the right kind and preparing it simply. For stir-frying or baking, look for extra firm tofu. The most important step is to press out the excess water, which allows it to absorb flavor and get a better texture. You can do this easily by wrapping the block of tofu in a clean kitchen towel or some paper towels, placing it on a plate, and putting something heavy like a cast iron skillet or a few books on top of it for about 20-30 minutes. After that, you just cube it up, and you can add it to a simple vegetable stir-fry in the last few minutes of cooking. It will soak up the flavor of the garlic, the ginger, and any sauce you're using. It's that simple.
That makes it sound so much more approachable. Thank you. And this brings us back to the most important question, the one that gives all this information its heart. It brings us back to Beatrice, the retired piano teacher. When she started making these small, simple changes, what happened?
It wasn't an overnight miracle, Sarah. True healing rarely is. It's a gradual process of the body responding to being given the right tools. Beatrice started with just the lentil soup. After about 2 weeks, she called me and told me something interesting. She said the constant low-grade heat in her knuckles felt like it had been turned down from a boil to a simmer.
So a noticeable difference even if it wasn't a complete resolution.
A noticeable difference. That gave her the encouragement to continue. We then added the roasted chickpeas as her afternoon snack, and she started trying a simple tofu stir-fry once a week. And over the next month, something remarkable happened. She told me the visible swelling in her finger joints, the puffiness that made her hands feel so foreign to her, had started to visibly subside. She had more energy in the afternoons. But the real victory, the moment that I will never forget as a physician, came about 6 weeks into her new plan. She called my office, and I could hear an excitement in her voice that I hadn't heard since the day I first met her. She said, "Doctor, you won't believe where I'm calling you from. I'm calling you from my piano bench." She told me that she had just played a simple Chopin piece from start to finish for the first time in over 2 years, without the familiar searing pain in her joints, forcing her to stop. She hadn't found a cure in the traditional sense of the word. She had found something far more valuable. She had found control. She had found relief. She had taken back her joy.
That is just an incredible story. It's everything. It's not just about reducing pain. It's about getting your life back.
That is all it is about. It's about giving people the tools to reclaim the passions and activities that make their life worth living. And it all started with a simple bowl of lentil soup.
Doctor, I am genuinely speechless. Beatrice's story is such a beautiful and powerful testament to everything we've discussed today. The idea that she didn't just find relief, but she reclaimed her passion, is the most hopeful message anyone struggling with chronic pain could ever hear.
And her story is a profound reminder of a truth that I have built my entire practice around. The food you put on your plate is not passive. It is active. It is information that you give to your body. Every single meal is an opportunity to either fuel that smoldering fire of inflammation we talked about, or to provide your body with the very tools it needs to begin the process of healing. The power to choose is always yours at every single meal. You are the architect of your own well-being.
You are the architect of your own well-being. What a powerful note to end on. Thank you so much, Dr. Morgan, for giving us this incredible roadmap to relief. So for everyone watching the 3 amazing plant-based fire extinguishers we learned about today are: first, lentils, the gentle giants that are packed with inflammation, cooling minerals like magnesium and potassium. Second, chickpeas, our antioxidant shield, which help protect our joints and provide the vitamin C needed to rebuild cartilage. And third, tofu, the complete protein powerhouse that delivers all the essential building blocks for repair, along with its own unique anti-inflammatory compounds. Final CTA. We are so grateful you joined us for this important conversation. If you found this information useful and hopeful, please let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. And please share it with anyone in your life who is living with the daily burden of joint pain. This could be the information they've been searching for. Don't forget to subscribe to Health Voices for more in-depth advice on natural treatments and healthy living. And finally, we would love to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these 3 healing foods are you most excited to add to your meals this week? Let's continue the discussion. Until next time, take good care.